Now, it's a good thing you are sitting on the hot seat, as it were, now. That is being the director of the Arcade Book Fair and the festival. Now, so how do you hope, from your last experience, that this can be corrected? Because if you have a dearth of the right fictional work that can shape the minds of people, it's because there are no producers of those works.
Well, it's one of the things that we did, which I mentioned earlier, was putting the authors in front of the children. There are lots of children out there who have a story. Lots of kids have personal stories. I mean, this is a country where you have 10 women around you. Ask them how many of them have experienced sexual molestation of some sort, as kids especially. You will be amazed at the sort of things that our children are being exposed to and the stories that they have bubbling within them that are just, you know,
waiting for a chance
to come out. And just being able to see an author shows you that that possibility, you know, that there's a possibility. Because I remember when when I was reading Enid Blyton, when I was a kid, there was a way in which she seemed to me like, you know, I stopped seeing the person behind the books. You know, it was almost like it was a machine that was creating all those books. But when a child actually sees an author, they just see that, okay, you know what? I should try this. This is another option for me. This might work for me. But more importantly, kids must write. They must keep journals. They must keep diaries. It's very important to express what is within them, because this society is very volatile
right now.
Yeah.
Now, so we're looking at the next edition of the festival coming up. Coming from the last one, so what are the big pictures we're going to be seeing this time around?
The last festival, the theme was The Shadow of Memory, where we were looking at how Africa, with its checkered past, had been represented in, you know, art over the last 50 years, in art, in literature, in dance, in film,
across
in
the
different
world.
forms. In Africa, especially. There is a focus on Africa. This is very important. And this year, we're looking at bridges. The theme is Bridges and Pathways. And we're looking at the conflict that's arisen based on, you know, cultural divide, ethnic divide, language divide, you know, the divide that we have along language lines, along gender lines also. This is really, and
how about religious lines?
Religious lines too, but, you know, it can be pretty sensitive, but I really hope to be able to explore that.
No, but we cannot run away from it, because I think everything actually, language divide, cultural divide, all these seem to be hinged on, right now, on just the religious divide.
It's not just the religious divide. Look, for instance, I'll give you a quick example. When I was in Ferrara at the Festival International last year, and I met an author called Laurent Kautozotti, and he was from Benin Republic. Okay, he's written about 12 books. I've written 6. He doesn't speak any English.
You don't speak much French.
I don't speak very much French. My French is much better now, but we could communicate in Yoruba.
Amazing.
Isn't that strange?
Amazing.
But
oh, he could speak Yoruba.
He could speak Yoruba because they speak Yoruba in parts of Benin Republic.
And that is African. Okay,
he's a black man.
now, so with the festival bill, so what will be the language of the festival, therefore?
We're looking at, it's English, but also we have a very big Francophone component. And for me, this is important because there's so many exciting things going on in Francophone literature, which we just don't have access to, you know? all these incredible authors, Janice Otsemi, who's coming to the festival, of course, Alam Mabanku, Kauto Zoti, there's so many. And because they're not being translated into English, we have no access to them. So one of the things we're going to do is we're introducing this project where every year we're going to
cross translations.
Exactly. A Francophone novel, translate into English, and take an English novel and translate it into French. I think those are important things for me. But also we're looking at things like the art out of conflict. The people who are actually living in Borno, in Yobe State, the writers, the artists,
even Yenegua, all those, you know.
How are they expressing themselves? How easy is it? What are the complications? What are the complexities that they are having to contend with? We're also going to look at sexuality. I think in the wake of this law, the same
on homosexuality,
which is what it actually is. It's not so much anti-same-sex.
Yes.
It's actually an anti-gay law, and I think it's so disingenuous that these two very separate issues, one has been subsumed under the other. I think it's really unfair and quite callous, to be honest. And it's something that I'm pretty ashamed of, that as a Nigerian, I'm a liberal Nigerian, but also I like to believe that I'm a thinking Nigerian, and one that isn't unnecessarily and horridly influenced by external factors, westernization, religion, and such factors. So for me, it was such a stain on who I believe that I was, being somebody who's always been so proud to be Nigerian. And I think it's sad. We call ourselves the giants of Africa, but we're the ones who are now, look at it, after us, Uganda, and I feel that a few other African countries will feel confident enough to follow suit. And it's something that I think we've done ourselves in
some disservice on this.
Absolutely.
Now, no, but seriously, is it a question of the rights of the person or the rights of the community?
What part of the community took this decision? Who's speaking for whom? Because why do we act as if this homosexuality, for instance, is some new phenomenon? It's not. It's been in existence in Africa from the beginning of time. People make reference to it, seeing it in the Bible. Well, of course, because it was around then as well, and it will always be around. It's a human phenomenon. It's not something that people learn. I mean, ask yourself, it's the most obvious question. Why would anyone choose to be gay in this horrible climate of nastiness and violence? If it wasn't something that was from within you, would you make that choice? And it's also, irritating, because we all have a sense of morality
over this.
But you can't impose your sense of morality over the next person.
No, but of course, whilst like that, you also, but you do accept the fact that the larger community may have a restraint on your sense of morality. You don't agree with that?
No, I mean, people have their opinions, but I don't want people to impose their opinions on mine. And are you talking about this being a democratic
no, not necessarily that.
Decision?
Okay, let's look at the issue of sexuality, for instance, and what women are going through. Some women are not quite comfortable with the way they are being treated.
This is true.
And they seem to say, no, there must be some level of acceptance that I'm, as a human being, forget about my sexual categorization, I should have some respect. So is that not valid?
Well, of course it's valid, and they should be respected. And this is why, in many ways, it's a human right. I think it was a former president of Mozambique said Africa, something along the lines of Africa cannot afford to start victimizing people who are gay, victimizing people based on sexuality. We have to harness all the goodness, all the talent, all the creativity, all the intelligence that we can. We simply don't have that privilege right now on this continent.